businesses have no visibility on their supply chain. Businesses, they may know about their tier one supply actors. Maybe they know about the supplier of the supplier, let's say the tier two, but then it stops. How do you know what is happening on your supply chain? And I think it's the real questions. Because you don't know, because businesses do not know what is happening, how do you think they can say, okay, my scope 3 is that amount? Okay, my ESG performance is that. I don't have any child labor. I don't cause deforestation. So again, to be capable to answer these questions, businesses, they need to know what is happening on their supply chain. And the problem that businesses are facing these days is that supply chain, everyone knows that we are completely under disruptions. Their supply chains are changing every day. Supply chains are dynamic. So you cannot have a static tool. As soon as you receive an assessment using the traditional model of, an accounting, I would say, it's obsolete. It's done. It's not the reality of what is happening of your supply chain. Maybe today you are not sourcing in Brazil, you are sourcing in Nicaragua. So how could you be sure that that scope 3 that you are promoting is the right numbers? So again, it's coming back with the problem of not having the visibility of the exact facts that are happening on the supply chain. I think companies, businesses, they need to start humble. So they need to start at high level. They need to do their first assessment, even using a secondary data. And it gives you a first idea of what is happening on your supply chain. And then you can start to build your strategy and you can start to work on having more precise data, more granular data in the real hotspots, in the real problem that you have to face, that you need to solve, sorry. And then you go to capture these primary data. It's not necessary to go to capture primary data all across the entire supply chain, but it's necessary to capture the data depending how you want to manage your risk in the right section of your supply chain. So then when companies, they understand that they can play between secondary and primary data, they can play with a high level view and more granular view, then I think it's a good step, it's a good balance. And again, the technology today helps to do that. It's now easy to do that. It's easy to deploy, easy to play with. So you can do that. And then when you have these that step-by-step approach, you can see, okay, how do I capture this primary data? And then there are different ways, of course, to capture that. It could be the ideal way would be to have an automatized setup. Imagine that you have IT bridges between the different ERPs, enterprise softwares that companies warehouse, WMS. So all these IT bridges will help to capture the real data on an automatic point of view. That's great. However, a supply chain is not just about, IT, because in the supply chain, in the real world, you have smallholders, you have farmers, you have miners. These guys, they don't have an enterprise software, or they may not have. So then you need to have a tool that can help to upload manual data. And again, it's the reality of the supply chain. So with these two examples, I wanted to share with you two examples where you need to upload manual data and you need at the same time to upload automatic data. And it's the mix of everything which we bring the primary data all across the supply chain. And I would say another example, you need to have the trust. within the data that you are capturing. It could be automatic, it could be manual, whatever, but you need to have the trust. Because you can have the best, as you know, technology tool. If it's garbage in, it will be garbage out. So how do you guarantee that trust? Again, different ways to guarantee the trust. But I would say if I keep on the data capture process, why not working with inspectors, audit companies, third party? And third party is very important, the concept of third party. When you have someone going into the field, for instance, into a mine, into an artisan mine in Congo, and at the same time does the data capture, but audit that the data uploaded into the platform are the right data, then you have that trust. You are doing two things at the same time. That's great. You can go also on a very automatized plan and do the same audit on a plan. So when we all understand that the audit is important, and again, it could be audit a self-assessment of a company. It's not necessarily having an inspector on site, but I think it brings the trust because we see so much model where it's just based on self-assessment and it's weak. Yes, it's a good start. Again, self-assessment, this is the good start. We need to walk before running. However, after that, you need to have more trust and more maturity, which this type of different audits and inspections. And again, if I keep going on the trust concept, I would not just talk about inspection. I can talk about detection of anomalies. Using powerful software and with all these data collected, you can, when you receive a data, when you capture data, your software is capable to detect if it's an anomaly. Is this normal that, you know, this week you disclose, I don't know, 100 tons of CO2 emitted. And last week or the last year, it was only, I don't know, 10,000 tons. So then there is a problem here. What's happening? So again, this is an anomaly on the supply chain. An anomaly can be detected when you compare, you benchmark against the competitions. An anomaly can be detected when you compare against or benchmark against traditional database. So different ways to detect an anomaly. I'm not saying it's a wrong output that you are getting, but there is a risk. And then with this type of software, you can see and you can deep dive. So different tool to bring the trust. And I will name another tool which is working with science, because again, you can have the best software tool, but you need to be science approved, I would say, and working with third party independent universities, scientists. It's key because these guys, they will be able to challenge your methodologies. They will be able to challenge your output, of course, your reporting, your structure. And I think it's the basis, the fundamental. And again, here, I would be very, very careful because we see many different standards coming. So that's great to have the standards, but the problem that we all are facing is that there is no one standard. So then it's a bit the jungle in that area. So even if science credibility is mandatory and it's key, sometimes it does not help the cause, I would say.